Hi, welcome. This video is going to be a little repetition for those who were in the last class or who missed the last class or just want to review the material from the last class as we learn the alphabet. We're going to do that in short form here without repetition, but I will stress that you need to continually repeat and repeat in your mind and learn the Greek alphabet, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, and so on, because only by repetition do we um, remember a language. And certainly the alphabet you will need, one of the basic um, foundations of the language. And any tool, lexicon, dictionary that you open, encyclopedia that uses Greek words, you will need to know where do I look, and you'll need to know the order of the alphabet. We're going to look, just switch back and forth actually to a PowerPoint screen, and you should be seeing the first letter, alpha, and I would refer you to the table on page 33, I believe it is, in the textbook, or on the very first page if you have a photocopy of the first two chapters, because we haven't yet been able to get the textbook to you. Or in some cases, we're waiting until we are sure that you're going to attend the course and waiting for those who drop out. Um, so we're using photocopied editions. In any case, if you turn to that table on the first page of your photocopy or on page 33, and the left column gives you the lowercase Greek letters. We will not look at right now the uppercase Greek letters. Most of them won't be a problem anyway. They're very similar to the English ones. And you will learn them simply by experience for the most part. Sometimes they begin a paragraph in the Greek New Testament, or certainly the books of the New Testament are written in uppercase letters at the top of the pages of the Greek New Testament. But for the most part, they are not used nearly as much in Greek as we use them in English. So we are concentrating on the left column, the lowercase letters, and mentioning also the sounds, which is in the middle column, and in some cases also the transliteration into Latin letters or English letters. How do we represent that Greek letter in English letters? We will mention that from time to time, but you will need to study that on your own particular. I would just point out that this first letter alpha is written between upper and lower line. This line is, these two lines are simply given here so that you can compare the letters in size. And there will be larger ones. There won't be smaller ones than alpha. Now, notice also there's a little blue star on the upper right side of the letter. That is where you would normally start in cursive handwriting and writing alpha. I keep wanting to say aleph, which is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And sometimes I will change that from what is given to you in the textbook. You may not necessarily have that on your photocopied. I think it was left out of the pages that were photocopied, but if you have the textbook, you'll notice on page 37, he has given a picture of the whole alphabet as it would be in cursive handwriting, using these an upper line and a lower line. So The first four letters are alpha, and then you'll notice that beta is a much larger letter. It extends above the line and below the line. And the next letter is gamma. It looks like an English Y. It has, though, nothing to do with an English Y. It is the G sound, G or G, gamma. And the stars on the upper left, and that's where we start when we write it by hand. The fourth letter is delta, and I will start writing that letter a little bit different place, in a bit different place than the author does in the textbook. Before we continue, let me come back and just go over those first four letters, and I'm going to write the first one, alpha, in a blue color, because I want to write all the vowel sounds in a blue color. You know that vowels are sounds like ah, u, and consonants are sounds like m and l and d and t. And there are 7 vowels in the Greek alphabet, and we want to make sure that we know what they are. So that alpha, the second one, beta, we start below the line and we extend above the line. I don't write it quite as large as he does in the textbook, but this is something like the size. And you'll notice that it leans a bit to the right in handwriting. Some fonts, the particular font I've used here on PowerPoint makes it more straight up, but normally it leans a bit to the right. It's the B sound, beta, B, B. Should be no problem for us. And anyway, you probably know these letters from other circumstances. They're used now for naming hurricanes. And of course, in America, they're used for sororities and fraternities at universities, societies of different sorts. So, and mathematics uses Greek letters a lot. So many of them will be very familiar to you. Gamma, as in the textbook, we start at the top and come down below the line. It looks like a Y, but just remember that it's a G, a gamma. And then the fourth letter, delta. I find it easiest to start above the line and simply write like we're going to write the number 8 at stop before I close it. Now he writes it differently. He starts over in the left and goes up, but I find that more complicated. True, you have to break your, as it were, your cursive handwriting and stop or the top. So that is a disadvantage, but I just remember it easier by the number 8, and then don't close it off when you have a delta. So those are our first four letters. If I go back to the screen, we'll see them, and the column, the third column from the left on your page, alpha, the names alpha, beta, gamma, delta. So just remember to repeat these several times and get the order of the letters down. The next letters, the next 4, and again, you'll notice that delta, he begins in a different place than I do. I begin at the upper right, and he's placing the beginning at the on the left. The next letter is another vowel. It's epsilon. It's not E, and you don't write it like an English E. You make a curve, and you put a line in the middle. Not quite as fancy as you see here in the particular font on the screen. I didn't make that very well. Sorry, I didn't also change the screen. Here we go. We're not seeing, of course, unless I change it back. I didn't do a very good job of making that, so I'm going to do it again. Try. It's a little hard to reach, but you'll notice that it does look like an E, but it's not made exactly like an English E with a half closed circle. Let's get all 4 of these new letters: epsilon, and then zeta, or actually a little softer Z, zeta. Something like if you were pronouncing it DS, zeta. It's the Z sound that the only Z sound that we have in Greek. We come to another vowel, an eta. Now don't confuse this with an in. It's easily done because we're used to this. It looks like almost like an English in, but it has nothing to do with in. It is eta. It is a vowel, a long E. Whoops, skipping all over the place. And then we have our 4th new letter, theta, the TH sound, thin, theta. Unless you're learning Greek in Germany, in which case you would say zeta and not theta, because I think in Germany, because they can't say TH sounds, they learn it as an S sound. But Greek speak today, and of course we don't have a cassette of Paul's, or a CD of Paul's recording of Paul speaking or preaching from the 1st century. But Greeks today use the TH sound, so we will as well. So we have 4 new letters again. If we look at them, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta. I have a little silly way of remembering 3 letters here, zeta, eta, theta, and got sick, if you get the joke. Just helps me to remember the order, zeta, eta, theta, or actually better said, zeta, eta, theta, soft Z sound. And again, when we're writing these, we've already written the epsilon, which is, put in blue. Alpha is a vowel, and epsilon is a vowel sound, ah and eh. And we write zeta, we start at the top above the line, and then we come down and write the lower line before we make a tail below it. So that's pretty much, I'll do it again just for repetition. Make your curl above the line, come down, go along the lower line, and then a curve below it, and that's zeta, Z sound, or soft Z sound. Eta, in the slide that I showed you didn't lean over, but we should lean it over slightly. So we start here and we come down to the line, and then we come back up and we let it go on the right side below the line and lean over just slightly. I made a mistake. This is a vowel sound, so I'm going to do it again with blue, because we're doing all the vowels in blue. And this is what we would call a long E, pronounced A. Alpha is ah, as in father. And eta, what does he compare it with? Eta is like theta. Fate, is that an English word? I know it is a German word. Or just simply AY, the pronunciation A. Well, we would say, we say in Greek a long E, although in English a long E is pronounced differently. But the short E, epsilon, and a long E, A, is eta. So zeta, eta, and then we have the last letter that we added. So we have 8 now. And you can write theta simply in one stroke. Very often students write it very conscientiously as a circle and then put a line in the middle, and you can do that. But when we start writing, and we usually start writing more quickly and cursive handwriting, we usually do it in one stroke, simply around and through the middle. You notice it's not quite as large as the one that he has in the textbook, but it is larger. And so we have a comparison with smaller letters. Now we're going to add 4 more. So here we have the 8 that we've learned so far, plus another. And that one is iota. It is where we get the English I. The only thing you have to watch out for here, or 2 things, is that you curve the bottom just slightly, and you don't put a dot on it. The iota does not have a dot over it, so don't dot the I in Greek. Iota, kappa. Kappa is a common letter used in names of Greek societies on college campuses, so many will be familiar with kappa. It's just the same as a small k, English K, so it's easy for us to remember. So we have iota, kappa, then we have lambda. Lambda, our L sound, is a large letter that starts above the line. And you know, it's basically 2 strokes. And needs the one on the left to stand up straight. So iota, kappa, lambda, and then we'll add mu. Mu as in cow, mu. For those South Asian students who are not familiar perhaps with our sounds of animals, animals make different sounds in different languages. For example, a rooster says cock-a-doodle-doo in America, but says kikeriki in Germany, and says it many other ways, and depending on what language you describe a rooster's crow in. But just, if you remember, if it helps to remember moo, cow, that's the way it's pronounced, moo, M-U. But it is the M sound, and when we transliterate it, if you look over in the second column from the right, when we put it in English letters, we write an M. If we're transcribing it, if we're transliterating is the technical term, into English letters. So now we've added 4, so we have 12. And we'll look at those just briefly here. Iota, kappa, lambda, mu. And we'll write them like this. This is a vowel, the iota. It'll lean slightly over, but the main thing is we have a curve at the bottom. Iota. So we have now 4 vowels: alpha, epsilon, eta, iota. And iota, kappa, is simply a small English K, kappa. Lambda, I'm going to put it here, extends above the line, and approximately at the upper line, you make the left-hand stroke and make sure that lambda can still stand up straight. A large letter, and it is our L sound. Iota, kappa, lambda, and then we have mu. Mu. I usually use two strokes to do it. I think he does it a little differently in the textbook suggestion, but I would suggest that you come down and then you just go back up and make basically a U with a curve on the right side at the bottom on the line. Make sure that your line on the left goes below the line, so it's kind of has a tail. This is the M, mu. Now we have 4 more. And because these videos are shouldn't get too long, I think we're going to do this in 2 sections. So we'll break this video at this point and call it Alphabet Part 1. See you on in the other section, Alphabet Part 2.